Welcome back. If you're just joining us, our guest on this episode of Question Time has been the Acting Director General of the Bureau of Public Procurement, Engineer Ahmed Abdul. Don't go away. Let's look at the value chain in the procurement system now. We have a system where the procurement officers are deployed out to monitor procurement transactions in the various MDAs. What are you doing to ensure that your procurement officers don't engage in any act of compromise or financial inducement?
Before now, the directors of procurement in MDAs, they were not posted by BPP. Of recent, BPP has gotten the approval. The mobility of posting the directors and all other procurement officers is now with the BPP, is to make them independent. If you are posted to one certain ministry, permanent secretary cannot remove you because you are independent. Permanent secretary cannot change you to another ministry because you are independent. And this is now sanitizing the system. So the directors, they are more independent like before. And it's bringing sanity in the system.
We have reports of ministers muzzling their way, using their political influence to push in their contracts or to favor their own particular choice of contractors. What is the BPP doing to ensure that, at least in this administration, there is a zero level of such reports?
I have not heard anything about that, but however, we are planning to conduct retreat for ministers. Already in January 2016, we have conducted a retreat for permanent secretaries. Today, we are conducting another retreat for chief executive officers of protectors and agencies. So we are also planning to conduct another retreat for ministers so that they will understand the fundamental principles of public procurement, so that they can also be on the same page with their permanent secretaries.
Now let's look at the tender board, which is a critical organ of the BPP. How effective is the tender board?
If you go to ministries, tenders board are very, very effective.
Why is it taking longer than necessary to inaugurate the National Procurement Council?
Yes, National Council on Public Procurement. The delay to inaugurate the council, the reasons are many, but however, efforts are being made to inaugurate the council. And during my time, whatever it takes to inaugurate the council, we will do our best. We are going to liaise with the State House. We are going to liaise with the National Assembly, okay, to ensure that this council is inaugurated.
Recently, the federal government issued queries to some defaulting MDAs for failure to submit their procurement records since 2014. So what are you going to do to these defaulters?
In 2014, so some MDAs submitted very late. Not that they have not submitted, but our complaint is that they submitted after the deadline. The law says all procuring entities must submit their procurement records not later than 3 months after the end of the financial year. Okay, and 3 months is 31st of March 2015 when we are asking for 2014. Okay, they have submitted but very late. And those who submitted late, we have already issued them queries We have already started receiving their responses, and we'll look at their responses and advise government as appropriate.
The National Assembly is complaining that some MDAs don't submit their books for legislative scrutiny. So what is the BPP doing to ensure full compliance to the legislative process?
I don't have much information about that, but all what I know, National Assembly, in particular, House Committee on Public Procurement, we are working with them, and they are examining the books of procuring entities, okay, on their procurement proceedings. And that is why it's mandatory for every procuring entity to keep the records of procurement proceedings for a minimum of 10 years. Because at any given time, those procurement records will be asked for auditing or for any other thing.
Let's do a cost-benefit analysis of the gains of BPP. You announced that the BPP has recorded a savings of 680 billion naira. The public might just be asking for more.
We made saving of 680 billion naira in 5 years from 2009 to 2014. And if you now convert this, stands at about 3.4 billion US dollars, which is not a small amount of money. And we are saying that with the collaboration with some other organizations, we can do more. We can achieve more than this.
What are you doing about it?
And you see, this saving now, we have saved this money to National Treasury, which can also be used for other developmental activities. So, for example, if you want to now spend 3.4 billion US dollars on education, you should know what you are talking about. Or if you want to spend 3.4 billion US dollars on water resources, it's not a small amount of saving we are talking about.
There is an interim report that the Coast Railway Line contract, which was awarded before the 2015 elections, did not follow the regulated guidelines. What is BPP doing to address this issue?
The procurement process is still on. Work has not started. So let us just be patient. It is when the contractor mobilized to site, we can now complain whether the procurement process is faulty or not.
Before we wind down this conversation, let's quickly look at the arms procurement. That was a scandal that went viral and out of order. What was the role of the BPP in the controversial arms deal?
Most of these procurements, they even didn't come to BPP. So we cannot comment on what we have not seen. We can only comment on what came to BPP and what BPP reviewed and issued no objection. Most of these procurements you are saying, they did not come to BPP for prior review.
Engineer Ahmed Abdul, thank you very much for making our time to be part of this episode of Question Time, and also for shedding more light on the procurement system in Nigeria. I think the public should be more enlightened now. If they are coming in to secure a contract, they know the rules now. And we can only wish you the best of luck in this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. You are welcome. Thank you.
And that's as much as we can take on this episode of Question Time. You may also send us your comments on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. Join us next week on another exciting episode of the show on Channels Television. Many thanks for watching. I'm Benga Ashiru saying goodbye.